approached him, honoring him with a necklace and naming him as their new chief. Mira woke Spear up early in the morning, practically shaking with excitement. She led him out of the cave and towards the shore, where she pointed at her home. When they arrived, Mira broke down in tears as she stared at a tree. Spear tried to console her, and eventually she was able to tell him about the traumatic event that had occurred there. She had been having fun with her friends and her lover when a strange man appeared on their shores and attacked them. He and his companions kidnapped Mira, killing her friend and branding her head as a sign of enslavement. The ship they were on encountered a storm, and an axe fell at Mira's feet. She used it to cut the chain that bound her and jumped into the water, narrowly escaping her captors. Mira continued crying as Fang and her children left the boat, the babies learning to swim for the first time. Spear and the others walked through the land until they arrived at a cave that night. Mira performed her prayer and Spear joined her. The following morning, Fang placed her children next to Spear and left the cave to search for food. She came across a woman bathing in a pond and was about to attack her when Mira and Spear heard the commotion and ran to Fang's aid. Mira stopped Fang and realized that the woman was actually her friend, Amara. Mira and Amara hugged tearfully as they were reunited after so long. Amara took them back to her hometown, and when Spear, Fang, and the babies arrived, the townspeople were terrified at the strangers in their midst. Mira calmed them and met with the chief, who declared that everyone should celebrate Mira's return. That night, the townspeople gathered around a fire to watch a performance. As someone dressed as the moon danced, they all bowed in reverence. Spear sat with Fang and the babies, watching the spectacle. The next day, Mira took them to an empty building, where Fang broke through the wall to create a makeshift home. She slept with her kids beside her while Spear couldn't sleep. He began drawing on the wall and eventually fell asleep himself. When Mira saw the drawings the next morning, she felt sorry for Spear as she watched him sleep. Spear sat and watched as Fang walked around, but the townspeople suddenly screamed as the chief arrived. Spear climbed up Fang and ran towards the chief, who wielded a weapon and attacked them. They fled, but the chief transformed into a snake and chased them up a hill. He set Spear on fire, but Spear pushed him off the hill and they both tumbled down. Mira rushed to Spear's side and quickly put out the flames that engulfed his body. The demonic entity emerged from the chief's body and dragged him down to the underworld. Mira begged for help, and they carried Spear back to the empty building. The witch doctor treated his wounds, but it was clear that he was gravely injured. Fang cried as she and her children left the room, and Spear mumbled Mira's name. Mira looked at the drawings on the wall and realized that Spear was in love with her. She climbed up onto the bed next to him and sat with him. Years later, Fang and her kids were walking around when Mira followed them. Spear and Mira's daughter sat on one of the kids, holding a spear as they faced off against a roaring dinosaur.